I just don't condone the bashing of Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys and have the same energy for the Eagles. We want the same energy for everybody because there's a whole bunch of bashing when it's Dak Prescott, but not the same when it's the Eagles. I got time today. A lot of people said the Browns defense was overhyped. I said the Browns are the real deal. Acho said this, which pissed me off. I'm not worried about the 49ers. They were missing Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. The Browns were missing Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb. They were missing them key factors before the game even started. So why is it that we are just scrubs and we're nobodies that don't deserve to be on the field and we're just all talk? But there's 100 excuses for these other teams. If y'all just gonna hate Cowboys Nation, just say y'all hate Cowboys Nation. I'm tired of people trashing my quarterback. I'm tired of people trashing my team. And that's why I had nothing to say to the media this week. You wanna hear me talk? Come to hear me talk on The Edge Monday night. And that's point blank period.
Oh boy, it looks like Micah Parsons, one of the Dallas Cowboys, one of the prominent members of the Dallas Cowboys, has finally come out in defense of Dak Prescott and the rest of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, you heard what Micah had to say. It's the same exact drum I've been beating on this channel for the past few weeks that I've been uploading videos concerning Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys, and the unfair coverage that they receive from the media. Now, one of the most common excuses that people will give concerning why it's okay for the media to cover the Cowboys the way that they cover them is this one.
I just want to know, where was Micah Parsons in February? He was at home. He was watching the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Have the same energy. Yes, I applaud him for coming to the defense of his quarterback as a good teammate should. But don't get it confused. The star comes with different expectations, and when's the last time they were in the Super Bowl?
Now, obviously, this was in response to Micah Parsons' comments, and I was okay with what she was saying for the most part because it was true. We were sitting at home watching the Eagles play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I was okay with it until she dropped the infamous line that every unreasonable Cowboy hater drops because they know that their hate is unreasonable, and it's,
"The star brings a different level of expectation."
Expectation is when you think a team is going to do something, but then they don't. That's what an expectation is. Expectation is not watching film and then twisting what you see while watching the film to create your own narratives or your own version of the truth about what has happened. This is what Micah Parsons was speaking to. I don't think that he was speaking about the expectations or the regard that people hold the Cowboys or the standard they hold them to at all. He was talking about the unfair coverage and criticism that is honestly not based in truth at all. See Shady and McCoy over on Speak. Anytime it concerns Dak Prescott, they throw a huge party with all the extra effects, with all the costumes, because they get a chance to finally punch down on someone. But when it happens to one of their favorite players, what happens then?
Listen, Jalen Hurts, he played bad. Had a bad game. 3 turnovers or 3 picks. That's a career high for him.
Now, you've described games like this differently for other quarterbacks. You haven't used the words like that. You've used other words, other type of vernacular, different type of words.
That is true.
Get him, Acho. I'm just wondering why now it's bad. You used another 3-letter word previously, but now we're just using bad. Just clarify that.
And I will for you. This is a great question.
Thank you, sir.
The thing is, in this league, you get judged on how you play, how you keep playing, how you keep playing.
Yes, sir.
If you have a bad game, I've been there. I've done that.
Of course.
You had a bad game?
Of course, many of them.
Okay, so I understand that. So, yes, Jalen Hurts, did he play well? No, he did not.
Yeah.
He didn't do well. He didn't play enough to win. He played bad. He lost us the game. Let's just go further and say that.
Okay.
Yes. Now, one thing about Jalen Hurts is he's shown all of us, he always gets better. He always improves.
You see, this is the type of goalpost moving and backpedaling that Micah Parsons is talking about. In no way is this analysis, 1, correct, and 2, fair. I can say it's not correct because Jalen Hurts has not put up this magical career of consistent numbers of him being a top-rated quarterback, because if you actually look at what he has produced over his career, I think the numbers would actually be quite shocking. He actually has a less impressive resume than the quarterback that you like to criticize the most in Dak Prescott. We've already looked at Dak Prescott's numbers. His career quarterback rating is about 97.6. Jalen Hurts is sitting at 90.9, and that's with an excellent season that he had last season when his team was essentially more stocked than the Monstars. But every other season before then was actually rather lackluster. He did have almost a full season at quarterback before his amazing year in 2022 that people seem to forget, and that was a very average season. 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 87.2 quarterback rating. I'm not even going to count his first year. I'm going to be a little bit fair to him. I'm not even going to count his first year because that was clearly worse than any year that Dak Prescott has had. I think his lowest quarterback rating year was like 80 something, right? And then this year, he's actually off to a slower start than he was in his first year starting at quarterback. So no, he's not consistently showing you that he's improving and fortifying this excuse that you're making for being a terrible TV host. And then you have your cohorts in Booby Taylor and Emmanuel Acho giggling like school children anytime that you're on these childish tirades trying to make fun of the Dallas Cowboys over stuff that your team is actually doing, and if not doing it, worse. So this is the exact type of coverage that Micah Parsons is referring to when he's talking about the unfair coverage of his team, his quarterback, and he's tired of it. And a lot of us are, and that's why a lot of people are rocking with this channel, because we are highlighting the hypocrisy of the media. We're having good dialogues about the Cowboys. We're actually talking about what's really happening on the field. We're looking deeper than whatever narrative or storyline we want to create to satisfy our higher ups. That's why people like myself and other content creators in the Dallas Cowboys community are growing the way that they are, because the fan base is tired of it. And it shows. It shows if you look at their social medias, they don't have a ton of interaction. It shows if you watch their show. It shows if you look at their ratings. They're struggling, so they have to do stuff like this. They have to become a caricature of what a sports analysis show should actually be. And speaking of speak, Emmanuel Acho also responded to what Micah Parsons had to say, and his response, honestly, didn't do him any favors.
Oh, now, Micah. Now, first off, congrats on the dub yesterday. Congrats on a game-sealing sack. I was there. You did your thing at the end of the game. Congrats. However, the Niners were without McCaffrey and Debo in the middle of the game. We know Nick Chubb is not returning this season, so I no longer factor him to the Cleveland Browns roster because he's not actually still on the roster. He's on IR. Deshaun. He's not playing as great as we expect Deshaun to play this year, so had Deshaun been present, I don't know that it's as big a deal as Debo Samuel's absence, all-pro, hard to do, you know. As big as Christian McCaffrey's absence, all-pro, hard to do, you know. So, yeah, I'm not mad at the Niners for losing because they still almost won the game, if not for a 41-yard field goal, sir.
So you see the problem here. You start making excuses for Brock Purdy that absolutely made no sense at all. You start talking about how Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson were already gone, so somehow they don't count as being detrimental to how good Cleveland the Browns could have been in that particular game. That makes absolutely no sense. The Browns actually had it worse because they didn't have any of the game without some of their best players, so they should be getting even more credit. And yes, Deshaun Watson makes a bigger impact than missing a wide receiver would on the field. Missing your starting quarterback, I don't care who it is, missing your starting quarterback is going to have a bigger impact on the offense than missing a receiver that's not even your primary ball catcher, not even your primary rusher. Debo is a Swiss Army tool, and then obviously you lost your running back. Everyone has lost running backs. Hell, Cleveland lost one of the best running backs in the league, and they didn't make any excuses. And there was no excuses made. There was no credit given to Cleveland. There was no credit given to them for winning with what essentially is a third-string quarterback. There was no credit given to them. There is no excuse that you can use for the San Francisco 49ers that's viable and that proves that you're this unbiased entity on the national media platforms, because that's 100% not the case. Emmanuel Acho has been a subpar NFL player throughout his whole career, and he's been a subpar TV analyst because he's tried the shock jock route instead of using the intelligence that I know that man possesses to actually formulate factual, engaging debates. But no, he chooses to go the easy route, the low-hanging fruit route, the route that his cohorts on Speak are going, which Joy Taylor and Shady at this point, I'm convinced that Jalen Hurts is some weird love baby that they've had together because they refuse to lay any criticisms on this man. The problem with the media is their biggest asset is no longer the creatively engaging way in which they're able to formulate sound arguments to prove a point one way or the other based off of observable truths that we can all actually see, especially if you understand the game and the details of the game. Now their biggest asset, if you're Shady McCoy, is being a clown and riding the bench and lucking up and winning Super Bowl rings with two of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. Emmanuel Acho's biggest asset is the fact that he speaks pretty, and Joy Taylor's biggest assets are on her chest. Either way, I'm 100% with Micah Parsons on this little tirade that he went on, and to the people that responded to him, y'all did not do yourselves any favors. Again, it's not okay to make up storylines and to analyze the game differently because it's the Dallas Cowboys. Expectations and analysis are two completely different things. A running back power play is still a running back power play, whether there's expectations at play or not. Break that down. That's more so what we're saying as football fans. You guys have moved to the psychology and I want to apply my own reality on the game route, which honestly, people just ain't rocking with, and it's showing. And the fact that it's showing makes y'all look kind of sad. But either way, appreciate you, Micah, for finally coming out in defense of your quarterback. We knew that Dak or anybody on the offense wasn't going to do it. If you listen to CeeDee Lamb's interview after the Chargers game, he actually talked about how Dak was one of the first people to come up to him and let him know how things are when you're a player on the Dallas Cowboys. When you win, everything is enhanced. When you lose, it's terrible. So Dak already understands that this is exactly what he's going to be getting. He can't change it, and he won't do himself any favors if he comes out trying to talk against it, because that'll probably just stoke the flames more. So it's a really good thing that one of the defensive players, one of the people that are supposed to be looked at as one of the leaders on the team, came out in defense of their quarterback, because usually on these teams, the defensive players are the ones that are a little bit less refined as it comes to how they're supposed to deal with the media, right? These are the dudes that usually put in the dirty work with the media. So really, really dope to see Micah Parsons come out and defend his QB and his team. But either way, you guys let me know what you think about this discussion down in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all know how we end all these videos. How about them Cowboys?